Tottenham with a very comfortable victory over Bournemouth means that is 4 points that separate the top two. 15% says the SPI. What do you think?
Well, I think if you take Tottenham out of the equation, that sounds strange. But you look at Chelsea's fixtures and you say, right, you're going to win these games, and they're not particularly difficult. Everton away being the most difficult, which isn't an easy game. They're playing well at the moment. But on paper, it looks like Chelsea should not drop any more points. That being said, they've been beaten by United at the weekend and previously beaten at home by Crystal Palace, fighting for their lives. All is not well at the moment. And I think it's a good test of Conte, who had that 13-game winning streak, who had a 10-point gap at the top that looked as if it was going to be 12 at one point. Now it's been narrowed down to 4 against the Tottenham side that have been playing well. But you brought up a point before we came on air. Who was it? They played Bournemouth at the weekend, who were absolutely shocking. Never got close to making a tackle. And the game before, I think it was Watford. So there's some bigger tests ahead for Tottenham, but it's all going to come down to what Conte's team do. If Conte's team let this slip now, they are never going to hear the end of it.
Robbo, SPI has it 85-15. Is that about right in your eyes?
I think it's about right, but we talked about Ibrahimovic from Manchester United. There's a big problem for Antonio Conte, and that's the centre-forward, Diego Costa. And I think Craig mentioned it. Over the last few weeks, he's not performed at all. And he's a centre-forward that they play around. And if he's not playing well, Antonio Conte will have to get him out the team.
He's back at his antics.
Yeah.
And I think
without an end product. That's the thing. If the antics result in goals,
I think
his
antics dissipate a little bit when he's getting on the score sheet. Not completely, but a little bit. But he was back at his antics again at the weekend. First half, running down the line, shielding the ball, no contact. Over he goes, wins a foul. Marcus Rojo, little hand in the face in the box. Not particularly bad. Rolling about on the ground. Looking for a free kick every time Bailly gets tight to him when he loses the ball. Just looking for everything apart from what he should be doing. That's linking up play, working hard between the two centre-halves, and making sure he's holding that ball up. And as Robbo said, all these things he was doing, and Conte got him doing, he stopped it. And now, what's the options? Batshuayi, who's got no real experience. I don't think he fancies him. So it's a big call for Conte what he does. He either gets into Costa's head between now and the end of the season, or he's got an issue on that front.
Well, Craig Burley, they're getting very excited in England that they might have a title race. However, you have some words of warning for anyone thinking that Spurs are going to catch Chelsea.
No, I mean, it is obviously more exciting than it's been. I mean, they had a 10-point gap. It looked like it was going to squeeze out to 12 and maybe even further at one point. So it's down to 4. Credit Tottenham for that. They've been excellent. And Chelsea haven't looked themselves. I mean, Alonso got injured in the warm-up. Diego Costa's just looked out of sorts. He got to hold the ball up. He couldn't hold the ball up. So there are a few little cracks appearing, which is all the process of coaching, as you know, Conte. You're not going to get it easy. But their fixtures.
This is the issue.
Fixtures on paper shouldn't be the most difficult.
Chelsea 4 homes, Spurs 4 away. Chelsea at home to Southampton, Borough, Watford and Sunderland, away to Everton and West Brom. Spurs at home to Arsenal, Man U, toughies, and away to Palace, West Ham, Leicester.
See, if I'm Chelsea, I'm not even looking at Tottenham, because what I know is if I take care of these games,
job done.
Then it's job done. Look, Everton would be the form team out of that lot, but they can afford to lose at Goodison or one of those teams and still be a point clear. There are a couple of teams. Well, there's 2 teams fighting for life, but we think Middlesbrough have gone and we think Sunderland have gone, so they're going to probably be out the fight at that point. So on paper, it isn't a hugely difficult run-in. However, the question has been asked, have you got the bottle mentality to get over the line again?
Because I want to play devil's advocate here. PSG in France, okay, they would normally beat Dijon. Real Madrid would normally beat Sporting Gijón. But they were both very close over the weekend. Barcelona, close, again, against Sociedad. This is the stage of the season where should win becomes no guarantees. You had it when you were with Celtic against Rangers in 1998, trying to stop them from doing 10 in a row. How different is the pressure playing catch-up as opposed to trying to defend that lead?
I would say it's probably 50-50. You're just always on a knife edge. I mean, we went down
Spurs don't look like they're on a knife edge right now.
But they've been chasing from a long way behind. It was almost like, this is gone, let's just do what we can. It's not as if it's been nip and tuck every week. One wins, one goes top, one loses, one drops out. There's been a gap. From my experience, when it's nip and tuck for the last month of the season, which it was for me, it really starts playing with your mind. So there are big decisions for Conte. Does he continue with Costa up front? His options are not great, that being said. But Costa's out of sorts. Does he change the shape of the team? Does he bring Fabregas back in for a little bit more guile? Does he bring Willian back in for a bit more pace? Because Pedro didn't have a great game. We saw Eden Hazard being man-marked. We've also seen them lose to Crystal Palace the week before. So clearly, this is a big test of Conte's management. The ball is still in Chelsea's court, clearly. But one more slip-up and there will be quite a big crowd of people saying, you're going to capitulate. And Chelsea have to make sure that doesn't happen.
But it's Chelsea for you.
It's still Chelsea's for me, absolutely, with that running and their players. I mean, it would be, if they were not to win this league from the position they've been in, they're going to take an absolute mallet straight across the top of the head. That bad.
Looks like Chelsea's fixtures and the lead that they have should be enough. If the fixtures were reversed and Chelsea had the fixtures that Spurs have got, that might be very different indeed.
Take a look at the bottom of the table. Sunderland, of course, losing. Middlesbrough in action against Arsenal on Monday night. Swansea losing against Watford. Hull City also on the wrong end of a defeat. Swansea, Middlesbrough and Sunderland favourites to go down according to the SPI. It is all falling apart at exactly the wrong time for Swansea, isn't it?
Well, initially when Paul Clement came in, he got a right upsurge with his team, got themselves out of the bottom three, looked as though they were comfortable at one stage, maybe, 2 or 3 weeks ago?
Yes.
All of a sudden, the bottoms fell out. I don't think it's a surprise that Llorente getting an injury and being out the side has made quite a difference. You know, when this guy was in Italy, I wasn't his biggest fan, but I think for Swansea, he really was the guy when they were on that good run.
He was back this weekend.
Yeah, but he's missed a lot of time. He's not 100% fit. They've lost the confidence that they had previously. I don't see any way out of this for Swansea City.
You take goals out of a side like Swansea City and really it can't go anywhere but down, especially given how porous they are at the back. And you just don't see how they arrest this right now. On the other side of the coin, you've got a Hull City side who had their up and downs over the last couple of months, are on more of an up.
Well, downs, more.
No, in relative terms. And then you look at the run-ins, and no run-in is necessarily easy when you're down the bottom because every game seems to be a tough one. But Swansea have by far the more difficult of the two run-ins. You just don't see where they make up the points on Hull City, unfortunately.
What's it like for Sunderland? Day in, day out, training.
Horrible.
Matt, it just must be the worst feeling as a player because you've got nothing, have you?
Yeah, I mean, listen, David Moyes, part of your job when you're involved with the side down there is that every Monday morning when you come in, regardless of the result, you have to lift everybody. You have to have a smile on your face. Because if you're in charge and you're walking through the door with your head between your legs and your tail between your legs, then it's going to affect the rest of the group and the squad. I don't know how he's doing it. It must be absolutely horrendous, but I think there's still a little bit of fight there. I just don't think he's going to take them anywhere.
I would like to see him walking into the dressing room with his head between his legs.
Yeah, that would be a sight for sore eyes.
The tough thing for Sunderland is they've been here for so long, over so many seasons, and at some point your luck just runs out. You think back to Roberto Martinez with Wigan, and you have these last, couple of games pushes and you stay up. Eventually, that just runs out. Surprisingly for me, or when it's worked out for Sunderland in their favour, it's always been on the back of a new manager bounce. For some strange reason, Sunderland have decided to stick it out with David Moyes this season. Everybody else at least has changed. Everybody else down there has at least changed manager and gotten a bit of a bounce. Sunderland have decided to stick with Moyes. There's been nothing. It's been flat. You just don't see where it's going to change. And unfortunately, like I mentioned, as we saw at Wigan a few seasons ago, you just feel that this is where their time just come to an end.
Of course, the Premier League is a tough league. Of course, we know that. But, with the quality we have and the way we're playing, I think, with the manager we have, just for the first season, look at what we are doing, and he was going to stay here for maybe 4 more years because he signed 4 years. And I think with what we're doing, with performance reporting, we can be really, really good in the Premier League, definitely.
All right, Howard, thanks so much for joining us. I was wondering if you could start by just taking us through what is VAR, what is your role going to be, and what can we expect to see kind of going forward?
Yeah, hi, Sam. Yeah, VAR stands for Video Assistant Referee, and it's something that we're seeing being implemented in different places around the world under the control of the International FA Board. We as referees as well have always looked to be the best we can be, and have been open-minded about things that can help us make better calls. So we've seen a few steps forward with technology in different parts of the world, and the big question has always been, can video replays help the officials on the pitch? But the big difficulty has always been not interfering too much with the basic way the game is played, the flow, the ebb, the tempo that soccer has, that I guess attracts so many people to it, and that's been the difficulty here in the USA and in Canada under the control of the MLS. A decision has been made that we'll try and embrace this. So now we're in the stage at the moment of offline testing for the system that's going to come in, some live testing in some USL games and some youth. We're in the process of training our staff in how to implement video assistant refereeing.
Time for Monday's Sweeper, featuring the best from the social media world at the weekend. After capturing their 6th consecutive Scottish Premiership title, Celtic kicked off their celebrations in some style with the so-called Yaya Kolo Toure song. Kolo was a good sport, showing off his dance moves and belting out the now famous footballing song. I imagine the celebrations are still ongoing in the East End of Glasgow. Unfortunately for me, as a Hearts fan, this is done purely through gritted teeth. Next we move on to the Reaver Derby, where Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang fashioned a new mask after scoring against Schalke. Well known for his various superhero outfits, the striker may now find himself in hot water. This new facial covering featured a Nike ad, even though Dortmund's official sponsor is Puma. Oh boy, someone get the popcorn ready. And do you remember that reporter who asked Bastian Schweinsteiger if he was aiming to help Chicago Fire win the World Cup during that first press conference? Well, the two met one-on-one at the weekend. Derek Henkel posted this photo and offered a good-natured apology to his new footy mentor. Looks like a budding friendship. And finally, not one, but two viral goals were scored at the weekend. The first came from Ajax's Lasse Schöne inside a minute, who scored this stunner of a free kick against rivals Feyenoord, while Liga MX saw the goal of the season so far, when Tijuana's Aviles Hurtado netted a stunning overhead kick that sent the Estadio Jalisco into a frenzy to a 3-3 draw against Atlas. That's it for now. Back tomorrow for Tuesday's Sweeper.